Going live. We're going to do it live. Hello, hello, hello. Here is your Tuesday poll question at Smerconish.com. Huge voting yesterday. Damn, huge voting. Is it time to settle the Russia-Ukraine conflict by accepting the present territorial positions as permanent? Musical chairs. It's like, boom, we stop right here. I'll address that in just a moment. Thank you to my friends at Parks Casino. You know what I was thinking about yesterday? I was looking at my notes to talk to you about Parks Casino, and I was thinking, what a place to mingle. Like, I'd love to see Parks incorporate the word mingle into their advertising because, well, listen to this. Sing-along brunches, Latin dance nights, country line dancing, comedy nights, happy hours in the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, game watch parties, the Bamboo Noodle House, the Parks Grill, the cover bands, the slots, the gaming, and all the entertainment at the Excite Center. I mean, it is like a huge hub of mingling. Check this out. Every Sunday at 12 noon, every Monday at 6 p.m., the BetParks Sportsbook serves up the ultimate fan experience, $1 hot dogs, $3 Miller Lights, $5 Peronis, and wall-to-wall action on the 150-foot giant sportsbook screens. Get your spot now, watch and wager on all the action, and check out who's coming to the Excite Center. Straight No Chaser, comedian Kim Jong, Get the Lead Out. That's a great Zeppelin tribute. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You can go there for all tickets. Parks, P-A-R-X Casino, to buy your tickets, parkscasino.com. Got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Monday, what a great conversation we had on radio yesterday. And by the way, if you missed what I'm describing, we downloaded the podcast so that you can listen to my conversation with Colby Hall from Mediaite and Will Bunch from the Philadelphia Inquirer, taking opposite sides as to the effectiveness of the No Kings rallies, and resulting in a poll question where I asked, will the No Kings rallies lead to meaningful change? 37,033 voted. 61.87% said, no, not going to happen. 38.13% said, yes, I will share those results with Ezra Levin on today's radio program because he's one of the organizers of the No Kings rallies. So we'll talk to him about the effectiveness, and I'll share with him some of the arguments that were made yesterday by Colby Hall, who made the case that a lot of people and a lot to be credited for, but nothing really comes from it. So we'll do that. By the way, one other programming note, if I may, and that is that episode 5 of the Mingle Project will drop Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast and not watching on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I was on Bill Maher 3 weeks ago Friday. You already, of course, know, and we've revisited that I was a panelist with Nancy Mace. That's a story unto itself. But Bill's opening guest that night 3 weeks ago was Aidan Walker, 26-year-old guy, expert in studying social media and memes in particular. I mean, really has a deep understanding of the attractiveness of them, the draw of them, I guess I should say, and what they say about our politics. And I immediately invited Aidan to be a guest on the Mingle Project because he's got an optimistic outlook. You know, he's a young guy and he really gets this stuff, and it's a good sanity check for me because, of course, I look at the data and I say 2012, everybody's got a smartphone, steep spikes in mental health problems. It's all causally connected. And he sees it differently. And it's a conversation that will launch Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, episode 5 of the Mingle Project. Okay, let's deal with today's poll question. Is it time to settle the Russia-Ukraine conflict by accepting the present territorial positions as permanent? Yesterday, I spoke with Admiral Stavridis, former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, about exactly this. We talked about how President Zelensky came to the White House last Friday in search of Tomahawk missiles, the long-range missiles that are extremely precise. But a day before he got to the White House, President Trump had a conversation with Putin, and Putin apparently changed Trump's outlook, so much so that when Zelensky came to town, he was browbeaten by Trump behind closed doors and encouraged to just accept the resolution of the conflict where the battle lines are right now. And I read yesterday from the Financial Times on radio, because the Financial Times four-person byline had the story, a lot of detail in the story. To wit, the meeting between the U.S. and Ukrainian presidents descended many times into a shouting match with Trump cursing all the time. They added that the U.S. president tossed aside maps of the front line in Ukraine, insisted Zelensky surrender the entire Donbass to Putin, and repeatedly echoed talking points the Russian leader had made in their call a day earlier. And a call, maybe more than one call yesterday on the program said, well, Michael, how can you take the Financial Times word for it? And I said, well, nobody is pushing back on this reporting. Well, now here's the Washington Post. The Washington Post, with their own three-person byline, essentially backing up everything that was in the Financial Times. I have no doubt that this is the way that it went down. Trump listened but was not responsive to the Ukrainian message. Quote, it was pretty much like, no, look, guys, you can't possibly win back any territory. There is nothing we can do to save you. You should try to give diplomacy another chance. Something else that I found interesting in the Post coverage of this. Asked if he urged Zelensky to give up Donbass, Trump later said that he hadn't. Let it be cut the way it is. Leave it the way it is now, Trump told reporters on Air Force One. One of the rubs of this is, well, is Putin seeking territory that he doesn't even control? Quote, European diplomats have long suggested they acquiesced to the idea that Ukraine will have to concede land in any future U.S. brokered settlement by freezing the front line. But they have backed Zelensky by insisting that Kyiv would not voluntarily cede any territory to Moscow that Russia does not control militarily. So there are some questions here as to exactly what those boundary lines would be. Some hear this and immediately, reflexively, I should say, as our poll question asked a couple of weeks ago, are you reflexively anti-Trump? Some hear that this is what Trump advocates, and they say, no, we can't do that. If that's what Trump wants, then we can't do it. But I argue just because Trump is pushing it doesn't make it wrong. This would be a terrible outcome, I concede, for Ukraine. This would be a terrible outcome for Ukraine, except for the alternatives. Because what are the alternatives? The alternatives are that we continue with the status quo. And if we continue with the status quo, it's hard to see that anything changes in 6 months or 6 years. Ukraine has the money because of the support from the West, not necessarily the United States anymore, but from their Western allies. But Putin has troops that he regards as expendable. So, he's willing to play a game of attrition. That's the status quo. It just continues on. The alternative is we give them the Tomahawks. And if we give them these long-range, precise missiles, maybe we're doing what a caller said yesterday on radio. We're punching the bully in the nose. Some guy called yesterday and said, well, that's what you got to do. You got to punch a bully in the nose. To which I said, yeah, except this bully has a slingshot in his back pocket. Do we really want to take the risk with a nuclear Russia of giving Ukraine those Tomahawk missiles? I mean, that's the question. That is the question. And I don't profess that it's an easy question, but okay, then I say game it out. What if we give them the Tomahawks? What if they use the Tomahawks? And in a best case scenario, Putin responds in kind without nukes. That's the best case scenario. Without nukes, but he responds in kind. Okay? Game it out. Now, where are we? I don't believe that even providing Ukraine with the Tomahawks drives Putin out of the areas in the east of Ukraine that he now lays claim to. And therefore, aren't they better? Look, I want Ukraine to do, to do all that it can do. I'm for Ukraine. But in the end, don't we end up where we are today anyway? I don't see a scenario, even with the Tomahawks, where Putin vacates the land that he now occupies. That is what I'm saying. And where those missiles are, 2 million, 2.5 million at a clip, I can't imagine that we're using more than, I don't know, that Ukraine is going to use more than how many of them? 5, 10, 50? Is that really going to alter the contour of the battlefield? Or should we, right now, go musical chair style? It's a hell of a poll question. I expect that the more militaristic, which is to say, no, it's not time to settle based on accepting the present territorial positions as permanent. I expect that will be the poll result, because the pro-military response on this issue always wins out. And now you throw in the fact that this is what Trump is advocating, and people will be like, hell no, if that's what he wants. But if it were Joe Biden's watch and the facts were otherwise the same, would you feel the same way? I don't like it, but it might be the practical resolution sooner than later. So what's the alternative? You tell me, what is the alternative? For how long do we go on, and at what human cost to Ukraine? Go vote. Vote at Smerconish.com. Is it time to settle the Russia-Ukraine conflict by accepting the present territorial positions as permanent? Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and set yourself up for notifications. Circle the calendar, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Mingle Project Episode 5, Are the Kids All Right? With special guest Aiden Walker. It's going to be great. It's going to be really, really great. All right. Have a great day, everybody, and thank you.